Very warm welcome to the top three finishers of the FIA Formula One Japanese Grand Prix. In third place, Charles Leclerc. In second place, Oscar Piastri, and taking his second win in as many races, our winner, Kimi Antonelli. Kimi, race win number 2 for you, and at one of the great racetracks in the world as well. Just how sweet was this one for you?
Yeah, it was. It's nice to be back, on the top step. Obviously, a very special win in a very special track. But on one side, I'm very happy, but on the other side, I'm a bit disappointed with how the start went. It's an area where I need to work a lot because it's definitely not good enough, and I'm just making my life a lot harder. So definitely a lot of work to do still, but I was very lucky, of course, with how the safety car, with the timing of the safety car. But yeah, then pace was very, very strong, and really happy with that.
What were your issues getting away from the line?
Just when I think I dropped the clutch a bit, too deep, deeper than what I should have, and obviously tires were also a bit colder, so obviously I went beyond the grip that was available and just lost a lot of places.
You knew you had a quick car, so what were you thinking at the end of lap 1 when you were P6?
I cannot say, but I was very mad.
Did you think the win was still on at that point?
Probably. I think it was a bit difficult to get by when was behind Charles because we obviously had 2 completely different deployments, and it was just hard to find the right place to overtake. Then he went back in the pit, and then we improved a lot with the pace, and then obviously I was lucky with the safety car. But without the safety car, I don't know how the outcome would have been. Definitely would have been a lot more difficult, but you never know.
Now, you're the youngest ever leader of the Formula One World Championship and the first Italian to win back-to-back races since Alberto Ascari. How do you imagine this news will go down back home in Italy?
I don't know. I think we'll find out pretty soon. But yeah, I'm not thinking too much about the championship. Of course, it's great, but it's still a long way to go, and need to keep raising the bar because George is very quick, and for sure he's gonna be back at his usual level, and also competitors eventually they will get closer. So I think we need to keep our head down and keep raising the bar.
Final one from me. We've got 5 weeks until the next race. Mercedes has won every race so far this year. Is there one area of car performance that you'd like to see the team work on between now and Miami?
Difficult. I think our car is very good. For sure, maybe with the starts. But I think, today was completely my fault. But together, me and George, we've been struggling a bit more than what we would have anticipated since the start of the season. And today the McLaren got a really good start. So they're clearly doing something better. For sure, also on driver's input, in this case, Oscar did much better than me because I cannot say, but I F it up pretty badly. But yeah, just need to keep working on that area.
Very well done to you. Thank you, Kimi. Oscar, let's come to you. Why don't we start with the starts that Kimi's just been referring to? Not a bad first Grand Prix start for you of 2026. Was it exceptional?
I thought it was good, but not. I didn't think it was super special. I think, I saw Kimi go into wheel spin straight away. And I didn't really see what George was doing, and obviously having to go around Kimi meant that the rest of my start was a little bit compromised. But yeah, clearly was good enough to get into the lead, which was great. So yeah, clearly that was a good strength of ours today.
That was a strength. This is your third podium in 3 years here at Suzuka. Just what aspect of the car's performance pleased you the most?
I think, I'm not sure there was one that I was massively pleased with, but I think clearly we did a good job with the start today. I think this weekend we just did a really good job of optimizing what we had, and I think from practice we were in a good window with the car in FP2, and we managed to get it back in that window for qualifying. I think we had a really good understanding of what we wanted from the power unit and how we had to kind of dial it in for the qualifying grip level. And then even today, that we did a lot of work on the starts. I think our starts through all the practice sessions were really strong. And then, yeah, I think the pace was probably a positive surprise. I think having clean air probably helped quite a lot at the start, but we did a good job, and I could pull away from George a little bit right before the stops. I think the strategy was good as well. So I think we just nailed everything. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough for the win, but I think at the moment a result like today is as good as a win for us at the moment.
Do you think the timing of the safety car cost you the win?
I would have loved to have seen how it would have panned out. I think I need to look back and see how, whether Kimi was quicker than George or similar pace. I think if he was the same pace as George, then it would have been a pretty stressful afternoon, because I probably would have had both of them right on my gearbox. I think once Kimi had clean air, clearly he was a lot faster than me. So I'm not sure we would have won the race, but I certainly would have loved to have found out.
That would have been intriguing, but have you come away from today thinking Mercedes are beatable?
Yes, I think, we knew from last year, or we know from last year, that even when you have the best car, you still need to operate it at an incredibly high level. And I think today on our side, we did a really good job of that, but I think it's interesting to see, when someone else has the fastest car, that it's not that straightforward. And I think the fact that I could keep George behind for so long was really encouraging. But we're under no illusion. We did everything right this weekend, and we still got beaten by 15 seconds. So we've got a pretty big gap to fill. I'm confident that we can get there. But yeah, we've still got some work to do.
Oscar, thank you for that. Well done to you. And well done, Charles, on the P3. A lot of pressure from George at the end. What was the key to keeping him behind?
I don't know. It was quite tight at some point, and they were also being quite cheeky, because I think his engineer was telling him things on the radio. My engineer was telling me what his engineer was telling on the radio, but he was doing then the opposite. And that puts me under quite a bit of pressure at one point. I think they told me, he's being told to use everything in the back straight, or vice versa, or maybe in the main straight. And then for 4 laps in a row, he was doing exactly the opposite of that. So I understood it pretty quickly, and I could defend. But at one point, I got surprised in the last corner. But it was quite a fun race. Unfortunately, a little bit unlucky for us because of the safety car, the wrong moment. I don't think it will have changed significantly our race, but it made it a little bit more difficult for our second stint, for sure.
Okay, that's the safety car. But what were you thinking at the end of the opening lap when you were P2?
I was happy. Then I was obviously focusing on Oscar, but Oscar was very strong, actually, especially in the first lap. In the first lap, I was very surprised on how much he pulled away. After that, I was just trying to be as close as possible to him, but he had a bit more pace, and I thought also the free air was making a bit of a difference. So, but I was just trying to wait for later on in the race, but didn't happen.
Okay, look, final one from me. Something I asked Kimi earlier was, in the break before Miami, is there one aspect of Ferrari's performance you'd like the team to focus on?
Well, I think doing a step back on those first 3 races, there's a clear thing that we need to improve, and this is surely the power unit. But we obviously cannot bring anything to Miami. But there's not only that, and in a year like this one, everything is very new. I think the rate of improvements of every team is massive. So there's a lot more than just the power unit. There's putting the tires in the right window. There's the aero. There's the chassis, and on that we'll work flat out in order to try and close the gap as much as possible to the Mercedes, and to hopefully keep behind the McLaren, and then we'll see. But yeah, I think the power unit is maybe our main weakness at the moment, but there are many other things that can definitely influence and help us to close the gap in the meantime.
Thank you very much for that. Let's now open this to the floor. Name and publication as ever, please.
Lawrence Edmondson, ESPN. Question to all 3 drivers. We saw a very nasty accident today, Ollie Behrman. I don't know if you've seen it on replays, but it was basically due to the closing speed between the 2 cars. We know that drivers have raised this concern already. How important is it that something does change ahead of Miami? And you know, does it matter if it's at the cost of this racing that we're seeing?
I didn't properly see what happened, but I don't know also if the guy in front did he move quite aggressively as well? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a big thing for sure. But FIA is already looking into how to improve for Miami, both in qualifying and race. So let's see what's going to happen. But yeah, it's very tricky, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with this car, surely we need to race differently, and there's no doubts about that. And one of the points actually was moving or changing direction whenever you are super clipping, and that's what creates some quite dangerous scenarios, whether we need to change absolutely everything for the race. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one. I don't think I'm the only one speaking with other drivers, but it might be half-half. But I actually enjoy those cars for the racing bit. I think for qualifying, there are definitely tweaks that we need to make in order for us to push those cars to the limit, and not having to think about too much about the energy. For the race, I think it also comes from just adjustments on our side in racing, in defending, and taking into account that the speed differences, can be more important. And on that, I mean probably more the defending cars than the attacking car. I mean on my side as well. In Australia, there were some pretty tricky moments with George. So yeah, I think it will also get better with time. But surely it's tricky.
I mean, we've spoken about that being a possibility since these cars, were conceptualized. It's what we're stuck with the power units. There's no easy way of getting around it. From what I saw, there was no flashing light from Colapinto, so I don't even think he was super clipping either, which is obviously a bit of a concern. I had a pretty close call in free practice with Nico, because he caught me about 3 times as quick as I expected on the straight, and we were both at full throttle. So, I think there's clearly an element of learning for us as drivers, and where the accident happened, it's not a place where you expect someone to come from so far behind and have such a big speed difference. And whilst we're learning that, unfortunately, things like this are probably going to happen, which is a shame. But, I think we understand as a sport there's a lot of things we need to tweak, a lot of things we need to change. And especially on safety grounds, yes, there's some things that need to be looked into pretty quickly.
Okay, thanks all. Next one.
Ben Moore with Speed Cafe. Question for Oscar. Charles mentioned a bit about how he was surprised of McLaren and how you were able to pull away at that point. Were you surprised that you were able to stay ahead of him towards the end there and that you were able to stay ahead of Ferrari in the race?
I think we felt like we could maybe stay ahead of Ferrari. I think, looking back at qualifying, I think clearly something wrong happened with the deployment for both Charles and Lewis. So I think the gap I had in qualifying flattered us a bit, and we thought they would be a challenge. And to be honest, I think with I think Charles and I had very similar pace through most of the race, so that was about what we expected. I think being able to keep George behind was a big surprise. Once he got back into second, I thought that he was going to come past in about half a lap, and I was going to settle in for second and wait for Kimi to do the same. But the fact that we could be so close to Mercedes and beat one of them, I think that was a much more pleasant surprise.
Thank you, Oscar. Next.
Michael Laminato, Fox Sports. Question to Oscar. I think I've chosen the most obstructed seat in this whole room. We've talked a lot this season about how laps are really important to get under your belt with these new rules. This was your first Grand Prix distance. Andrea talked about how this was the best of you, or certainly that he's seen all year. How do you feel like you performed today? And in terms of getting the most from your car package, how far away, if at all, do you feel like you were from getting the absolute maximum from the McLaren today?
I think this weekend was probably one of my best weekends in F1. I think I felt like I hit the ground running in practice. Qualifying, I think we did a really good job of getting the car into the window I was happy with on Friday. I felt like I drove well in qualifying, and the race, there wasn't anything more we could have done. We got a good start. The pace was good. I felt like I was, strategic or smart with how I used the boost and how I managed that side of racing. Our strategy was good. We didn't blink too early. Obviously the safety car was a shame, but I think as race weekends go, we couldn't have done any better than that. For me, I'm very happy with the performance that I put in. Very happy with the performance from the whole team. Clearly, we've still got some. Firstly, performance to find, but also, on Lando's side of the garage was a pretty interrupted weekend with all the issues, and clearly the start of the season's not been easy for us with reliability, so we've got a long way to go. But I think we showed that if we get everything as good as we can get it, then we can cause a few headaches.
Thank you. Next one.
Phil Duncan, PA. Kimi, I know earlier on you were saying that the championship is early days, but obviously Mercedes have won the first 3 races, and you've got 2. George has got 1, so there's a chance, obviously, that the winner of the championship could come from Mercedes. Are you ready for that rivalry with George? And are you worried at all that it could become a bit tense between the two of you?
No, I'm not worrying about that, to be fair. I'm just going to focus on myself, on what I need to do, trying to get everything right in terms of procedure, starts, driving. I know how strong George is, and for sure it's gonna be very hard. Plus, I think Ferrari and McLaren they will get closer, so it's gonna be important to stay on top of the game. As I said before, keep raising the bar, and but I'm not focusing or worrying about this at the moment. I'm just obviously happy with how things went today, and just gonna try to make the best out of the break and trying to see where how I can improve those areas in order to be back stronger.
Thank you. Next.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. Kimi, just picking up on wanting to raise the bar there. Through your rookie season, you went through some ups and downs and bounced back stronger for it. Just how much do you feel you've leveled up in terms of your own performances this season? Obviously, the car does help, but how much have you taken that step in year 2?
Big step, big step. Sorry. Experience does a lot. Obviously, last year I've gone through a lot, and it taught me massively more than what I anticipated, and for sure is helping so far this year. Of course, there's still a lot of work to do, but I definitely feel much more in control of the situation. Of course, as you said, the car helps, and yeah, and I'm gonna try to be ready and everything, because it's one of those opportunities that they don't happen every day. So obviously, yeah, really grateful with the car that the team has provided us so far, and yeah, just need to keep my head down.
Thank you for that, Kimi. Next.
Lawrence Edmondson, ESPN. To follow up on that, Kimi, how do you feel like you've closed the gap to George? Is that what you feel? Because you said you thought he was going to get back to his usual levels soon, but do you feel like you have closed in? And how much of that is you both starting from scratch with this new regulation set, rather than getting into a car that he'd been essentially driving that type of car for 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, for sure helps that everyone started from zero. For sure, experience still helps. But definitely I've been closing the gap with him. I think still in qualifying, he has the upper end, especially when it comes to Q3. He's always able to find that little bit of extra, which I'm working on. But in terms of race pace, I think we have a really strong base. So yeah, I feel obviously a super strong, very complete driver. I think he showed many times last year, and that's why it's not gonna be easy, and that's why I need to do everything as perfect as possible.